Good evening and welcome to the week ending November 22nd, 1941. My name is Henry Chop, your host. And on tonight's program, we will listen to The World Today, a newscast. And we will listen to the Red Skelton show. But this is a very special Red Skelton show because it is a rehearsal. And we will close it out tonight with a 50-minute long Sunset Serenade with Glenn Miller and the orchestra. Some great stuff tonight. Stick around. In about a minute, it begins. If you enjoy these World War II era radio programs, you might enjoy our Patreon page titled World War II on the Air and in Print, Old Time Radio and News. The link is in the comments section to this video. On our Patreon page, you will get a daily dose of old-time radio as we travel through the war years chronologically. The cost for the OTR is free, but you do have to put the app on your device or find their website online and subscribe to our page. If you would really like to know what the war years were like on the home front, try our $5 a month premium tier. There you will get a morning newspaper from the corresponding date of the radio broadcast delivered to your electronic doorstep right next to the milk bottles nearly every single day. Check us out. World War II on the air and in print, old time radio and news on Patreon, spelled Patreon. Patreon spelled backwards is Nortab. We are less than a month away from U.S. involvement in World War II. On our Patreon page, we are going to post radio from December 7th and December 8th, 1941, as it was heard consecutively from 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, December 4th, 2022, and running all the way to midnight, December 5th, 2022. The programs, which you may download for free, will mostly be in 2-hour segments. You will hear what was on the air a half hour before the first bulletins of the attack, through the declaration of war, which we have each network's coverage of, through bulletins of the West Coast panic. It is going to be history as you've never heard it, exactly as it happened. My name's Henry Chop, your host, and speaking of history as you've never heard it before, we're going to go back to November 17th, 1941 for our first program. Now it's The World Today over CBS. The program now is known as the CBS World News Roundup. It kind of evolved a little bit, but you're going to hear some news about the conference with Envoy Caruso and Nomura and the peace talks with Japan, along with news from Europe, the Germans drive on Moscow, and news from North Africa as well. So some great stuff here. It's history in the making. Let's give it a listen. Here's The World Today.
The World Today. The Columbia Broadcasting System presents a complete summary of all the important news of the world and reports from Columbia's correspondents in important world capitals. Tonight we shall hear from Albert Warner in Washington and from Bob Trout, direct by transatlantic shortwave radio from the British capital. And here in New York, John Daly will give you the news from many other parts of the world, the latest developments as received in Columbia's newsroom. And now, John Daly.
There were many major developments today at home and abroad. The headlines: Germans claim victory in the Crimea. Russians report gains around Moscow and Leningrad. President Roosevelt signs the neutrality law amendments. Captive coal mine strike ties up production, and Congress prepares anti-strike legislation. Japanese envoys begin negotiations with the President and Secretary of State Hull. Captured Axis ships revealed as German merchantmen. Those are the highlights. Now here are the reports on the Russian war. Berlin and Moscow are both reporting victories tonight and speaking in superlatives of their accomplishments. The Germans claim their victories in the south. The Russians claim theirs in the north. A special communique from Adolf Hitler's headquarters said that the Nazis had captured the city of Kerch at the eastern end of the Crimea, and that the entire eastern part of the peninsula is now in German possession. The Nazis added that they had taken over 100,000 prisoners, and military spokesmen in Berlin declared that their army might strike across the Kerchensky Straits into the Caucasus without pausing to mop up the Crimea. Russian dispatches have not acknowledged the fall of Kerch. They said that fighting was still in progress around that city and also at the great Russian naval base at Sebastopol. The Russians were jubilant about the results on other fronts. The Moscow radio quoted a dispatch of the news agency TASS, which said that Russian troops had counterattacked at Tula, 110 miles south of the capital, and the result was a panic-stricken rout of the German armies. TASS said that the Nazis fled, leaving behind them huge piles of shells, grenades, rifles, and even clothing and bowls of uneaten lentil porridge. Some Germans were caught asleep, and they abandoned their guns and ran down frosty streets in their underwear. Dispatches from Leningrad reported that the Nazi troops in that sector had been dislodged from positions they've held for some time. Those are some of the major developments overseas. In our own country, labor trouble took the top headlines. For that news, we hear from Albert Warner. We take you now to Washington.
President Roosevelt has just now called off temporarily his scheduled trip to Warm Springs, and with obvious irritation over the attitude of John L. Lewis of the United Mine Workers, Mr. Roosevelt prepares for action in the strike of the captive coal mines. A Congress which heard denunciation of Mr. Lewis in both chambers was apparently ready to act on legislation to take over the mines at a word from the President, but he was not to be hurried. The irritation of the White House was clearly indicated, however, at the end of a day in which peace negotiations had completely collapsed and the captive coal mines were closed and sympathy strikes were spreading to some of the commercial mines. An hour ago, Stephen Early, the President's secretary, made public the text of a letter from 3 steel company presidents who operate the captive mines and who negotiated with Mr. Lewis. Mr. Early commented that the White House was not releasing a similar letter from Mr. Lewis because he had given it to the press before the President had received it. As if to emphasize the White House sentiments toward Mr. Lewis, Mr. Early then handed out an exchange of messages between the President and another union leader, Daniel Tobin of the AFL Teamsters. Mr. Tobin had wired that a dispute involving 225,000 truck drivers had been submitted to the National Railway Mediation Board for final settlement because of the serious conditions in the world. Mr. Roosevelt replied to Mr. Tobin, "You expressed to me the spirit of fair play and patriotism, which I have always believed existed in the hearts and minds of American labor and unionists. What a fine Thanksgiving it would be for us all," said the President, "if leaders in the other fields of labor would follow your example." A day of swift activity began with Mr. Lewis reporting to his Union Policy Board members failure of negotiations. Tearing the air with his explosive words, Mr. Lewis paid his respects to steel companies in general and Eugene Grace, head of Bethlehem Steel, in particular. Mr. Lewis declared that the United States Steel and Youngstown Sheet would have signed the controversial union shop contract, but Mr. Grace refused. That multi-million-dollar executive, with $1,200,000,000 in government orders, said Mr. Lewis, is standing there, unchanged, unaffected, cold-bloodedly determined to prevent any settlement. A little later, the 3 steel company presidents conferred with Mr. Roosevelt and sent him 2 letters which the White House subsequently made public. One categorically denied Mr. Lewis's charge of a split among the operators. The other explained that failure of negotiations with Mr. Lewis explained them by saying the United Mine Workers had not deviated in the slightest degree from their demand for a union shop. "We firmly and sincerely believe," said the steel company presidents, "that the right to work in our coal mines or in any other industry should not be dependent upon membership or non-membership in any organization." There were bristling words on Capitol Hill, and Senator Connally offered a resolution specifically empowering the government to take over the coal mines and to freeze the present status of the unions in them. While steel mills were facing closure, the President asked Congress today for $6,700,000,000 additional for the Army and $300 million more for the Navy. The Navy disclosed that the merchant ship which it captured in the South Atlantic was a disguised German vessel on its way from Japan to France with a cargo of raw rubber and American-made automobile tires. It was with the handicap of domestic labor troubles hanging over the White House that the President went into conference on the critical Far Eastern situation today with Secretary of State Hull and the special Japanese envoy, Saburo Kurusu. They talked for 1 hour, double the scheduled time. No statement was issued, but in one quarter came the report that the United States was proposing to Japan as a first step toward settlement that it should withdraw from the Axis. There was nothing to indicate Washington was ready to promise Japan that freedom in China which it has been demanding. Kurusu said, "Many things was said." For further Far East news, we return you to New York.
While Japan's envoys in Washington were talking about peace, reports from Shanghai said that Tokyo had asked the government of Indochina to admit 50,000 more Japanese troops. These forces, declared the Japanese, are needed for the defense of the French colony, but Indochina has not yet sent a formal reply. The addition of 50,000 troops would give the Japanese an army of about 100,000, which would be about 2.5 times as many as the Indochina government agreed to admit last July. In spite of that agreement, the Japanese are said to have more than their quota in the colony already and are rushing in still more. They are also staging realistic war games within rifle shot of the border of Thailand. In Tokyo, a member of the House of Representatives, Gotaro Ogawa, called upon the Japanese government to put the entire strength of the nation on a war footing. He said that all expenses should be subordinated to military costs. He declared that nothing must stand in the way of Japan's Far Eastern program. He said it is right for Japan to try to tide over this crisis through diplomatic means. But needless to say, there must be a limit which cannot be crossed in protecting the existence and the prestige of the Japanese Empire. And now the Japanese House of Peers is expected to pass an extraordinary appropriation for military purposes. London, too, is vitally interested in the Pacific, but it has also immediate interests at home. So for the news from the British capital, Bob Trout reporting, Go Ahead, London.
London tuned in to the British news broadcast tonight and heard a report dominated by news of the United States. Leading everything else on tonight's BBC home broadcast were 5 headlines. Since the night's announcement of the American Navy's capture of a masquerading Axis ship, said the British announcer, a German motor vessel has been brought into Puerto Rico. President Roosevelt has asked Congress for huge new sums for the Army and Navy and has signed the Neutrality Revision Act. The American coal strikes seem to be spreading. Japan's special envoy has conferred with Mr. Cordell Hull and the President. There has been more news about united action in the Far East to check any Japanese aggression. So went the radio headlines, and that is the news which British listeners heard tonight. The reports here said that the German vessel was loaded with a large quantity of raw rubber as well as American-made automobile tires. This seems to support opinions which have been recently expressed here that the Germans are more worried about rubber than about oil. About the coal strikes, the British public has no very clear idea. Most people here cannot fit together Philip Murray's Detroit speech yesterday with John L. Lewis's strike call. That puzzles them. And so does the CIO A.F. of L. feud. They don't understand the terms collective bargaining and closed shop. But when you explain them, they will tell you that workers in Britain have had those things for more than a generation. They don't have them now. A war is on. But the government has solemnly promised, and a steady flow of government speakers keeps on promising, that when the war is won, the rights and privileges of labor will be restored. The way government spokesmen usually express it is, we must give up our liberties now so that we will have liberties to enjoy after the war. There was considerable surprise here when Russian ambassador to the United States, Litvinov, American ambassador to Russia, Steinhardt, and Sir Walter Monckton turned up at the Tehran airport in the plane from Kuibyshev. The Foreign Office of Iran had officially notified the Russian embassy and the American and British legations at Tehran that the passengers were proceeding by automobile after their forced landing. This Tehran airport has recently been improved and is now used by British planes. Air service between Tehran and Kuibyshev is scarcely more than 2 weeks old. These are the first distinguished passengers reported to have used the service since it began, but it's likely they won't be the last. Bad weather recently has kept bombing planes inactive, but Royal Air Force fighters today attacked points in northern France. Although no German bombers have flown over London for some time now, the blackout is still rigidly enforced. The thinnest line of light peeping out on the darkened street from one of your windows brings a prompt call from the police. But a 56-year-old man has just been fined $4 for not drawing the shades at all. His defense was simple. He said, I didn't know you had to pull the blinds down. I'd never heard of the blackout. I return you now to Columbia in New York.
In Vichy, the French Foreign Office took official notice tonight of the many reports that the Pétain regime is about to decide on full collaboration with the Nazis. A formal statement characterized the stories as premature, if not actually tendentious propaganda. The French officials admitted that negotiations on French-German collaboration have reached a new phase as the result of recent conversations between Pétain and Otto Abetz, German representative in Paris. But they insisted that there is not at present any question of changes in military, naval, or police arrangements. The Vichy government also denied rumors that General Weygand, who is not a favorite of the Nazis, is to be ousted from his post as commander in North Africa. There have been several rumors about Weygand. One that he was to be appointed Minister of War to succeed General Hunziger, who was killed in a plane crash last week. Another that Vichy intended to get him away from the European scene by appointing him ambassador to the United States. Still another that General Dentz, who fought against the British and the Free French in Syria, was to get his post in North Africa. But all these reports, said Vichy, are incorrect. Vichy also denied that French troops would be placed at the disposal of the Germans, that French troops under German command would be permitted to occupy the Bordeaux region, and that there would be a change in important French military commands. And that's the story of developments, or the lack of developments, in Vichy. The Germans are also planning to extend their civil administration into Russia. Dr. Alfred Rosenberg has been given the job of restoring public order and public life, as the Nazis put it, in the occupied Russian territories and in the Baltic states. And the theories of Rosenberg give the Russians an idea of what they may expect under Nazi rule. For Rosenberg is an arch enemy of communism and Judaism, and the originator of the ideologies of the Nazi Party. It was Rosenberg who drew up the Nazi program of religion, a program that calls for elimination of anything that conflicts with National Socialism, that substitutes Mein Kampf for the Bible and the German sword for the cross. It was Rosenberg who convinced Hitler that the pre-World War type of anti-Semitism could be imported into Germany. He once wrote, "When we come to power, Jewish bodies will dangle from every telegraph pole between Munich and Berlin." And he preaches the doctrine that Christianity and Judaism are the religions of weaklings. Now, all civil administrations in occupied Russia will be subordinate to Rosenberg. His spokesman said that the return of private ownership in the eastern areas, as opposed to the communist theory of state ownership, would be within the scope of the Rosenberg administration. Several assistants will be appointed to rule various districts of Russia and the Baltic states under Rosenberg's direction. As to the permanency of the organization, Rosenberg's spokesman said that at present, its assignment is strictly a wartime function. And that's the world today.
Things are certainly getting interesting on the war fronts. That was from November 17th, 1941. We are spotlighting the week ending November 22nd, 1941 in radio. My name is Henry Chop, your host. If you love these vintage radio programs, we have much more of them on our Patreon page. The link is in the comments section to this video. You have to put the app on your phone or pull it up on the internet and create an account, and then you'll be able to find our page, which is called World War II on the Air and in Print, and we have programs nearly every single day. Sometimes we have maybe 3-4 hours of programs on some days, and other days we maybe have an hour of radio programs, but plenty of stuff as we go through the World War II years in chronological order. And if you want our premium tier, you can get our $5 premium tier, and that will get a newspaper delivered to your electronic doorstep just about every single morning. Some days, for whatever reason, there was no newspaper in the archives that we use, but just about, I'd say 99.9% of the dates do have a newspaper. Let me tell you the programs that we are going to listen to Sunday through Wednesday this upcoming week. Let's see, Sunday the 23rd of November, 1941 features The Shadow, The Great Gildersleeve, The Screen Guild Theater, Columbia Workshop, and songs by Dinah Shore. On November 24th, 1941, we have Vic and Sade, The Goldbergs, The Adventures of Superman, Terry and the Pirates, The Lone Ranger, Vox Pop, the Lux Radio Theater, The Cavalcade of America, and Lum and Abner. And on Tuesday, November 25th, 1941, we have the Goldbergs, Terry and the Pirates, Fibber, McGee and Molly, and the Red Skelton Program, and Lum and Abner. And on Wednesday, November 26th, 1941, we have the Goldbergs, Here's Morgan with Henry Morgan, The Adventures of Superman, Superman, Terry and the Pirates, The Lone Ranger, the Texaco Star Theater with Fred Allen. We have both the East and West Coast versions of that program. In between, sandwiched in between the East and West Coast versions of that program, we have Romance of the Ranchos and Lum and Abner. I will tell you what we are going to listen to for the second half of the week after our next program. This Red Skelton program is a rehearsal. The dress rehearsals were done on Sunday, so this would have been dated November 16th for the program of November 18th. The plot lines are basically about supermarkets. Now, these dress rehearsals, a couple things that you'll find interesting is that Ozzie Nelson does not have a band in this. He just has a piano. And the program runs a little bit long. It runs 39 minutes long, and the reason for that is they put in a whole bunch of extra jokes, and if some didn't play, those would be cut out of the final product. And by the way, on our Patreon page, you can hear the final product there also. We have both the rehearsal and the final product of these Red Skelton programs, or several of them anyways. So that you might find interesting. So right now, pretend that you've got tickets for a Sunday for a dress rehearsal of the Red Skelton show.
From Hollywood, the Raleigh Cigarette Program starring Red Skelton, with Ozzie Nelson and his music, Harriet Hilliard and Wonderful Smith.
That patrol really can play, can it?
Hard to say that. That was I, played by Ozzie Nelson and his band. And here is Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's newest comedy find, the star of our show, Red Skelton.
Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Say, Red.
Yes, Bradley?
Red, you look a little tired tonight. What have you been doing?
Well, I've been doing my Thanksgiving shopping in one of those big supermarkets, you know.
Supermarket?
Yeah, that's a push cart that got a break.
Oh, yeah, I know. Say, Red, those supermarkets are really something, aren't they?
Yeah.
Say, did you ever see one on opening night? Why, just like Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Yeah, I went to a big supermarket opening the other night, and they asked me to put my footprints in a bowl of Wheaties.
Tell me, were they busy while you were there?
And how? Boy, they were so crowded. I bought a pound of grapes, and when I came out, I had a gallon of wine.
Say, Red, did that earthquake we had the other night, did that damage the market you go to?
We never speak of that anymore. Well, not exactly, Brad, but you know all of those beans on one side of the store?
Yeah?
And all the corn on the other side?
Uh-huh. Well, tell me, what happened after the earthquake?
In the middle? Succotash.
Red, I suppose you got all your Thanksgiving shopping done.
Yeah, and I bought a lot of good things to eat, too.
Yeah?
I bought some stuffed olives. And...
Stuffed olives?
Yeah, you know, air-conditioned grapes. Say, oh, you know how the people out here in California are always bragging about how big the vegetables are?
Uh-huh.
Well, I fooled them.
How?
Well, I pointed to some watermelon, and I says, give me some of them cucumbers, will you? The guy says, them ain't cucumbers, them's peas.
What'd you say to that?
Oh, you should see how big the oranges are, though.
Are they really big?
Big? There was a guy from Florida came in, looked at the oranges, and said...
Oh, Californians love that.
Yeah.
Well, some of those supermarkets are really particular, aren't they?
Yeah, I went in one the other day, and I says, give me some lamb chops without panties. And the guy looked at me, and he says, how old are you, son?
Hiya, Red.
Hello, Harriet. Say, did you enjoy going shopping with me in the supermarket?
Oh, I certainly did. Say, but tell me, why do you always go shopping in your bare feet?
Well, you can never tell when some lady's going to drop her change. Say, but wasn't that market a big place, huh?
Oh, it certainly was, Red. Just to give you an idea of how big it was, I bought a dozen eggs in the back of the store, and when I got to the cashier, I had 5 hens and 7 roosters.
And another egg now.
Now, wait a minute. You're kidding.
No, we aren't either, boy. Those markets are really big. They run a 40-cent tour every half hour.
They really do, huh?
Yep. People come from everywhere to see those markets. They even carry them in from Glendale.
Say, I noticed when we were in that market, you were going around telling everybody you were Red Skelton.
Yeah, that's right.
Anybody give you the bird?
No, that was a very high-class place. They just give me the Maltese Falcon.
I'll say it was a high-class place. It's the first market I've ever seen with a cigarette girl.
Yeah. She was cute, too, although I thought she was a little bold.
Yes, so did I. I'd go around yelling, cigars, cigarettes, Hillside 6237.
That was probably her license number. But listen, don't you think some of those women shoppers are a little rough?
Oh, they certainly were rough.
Yeah, at first I thought it was cranberry sauce.
Gee, the price of food has certainly gone up, hasn't it?
Oh, I don't think so. I got a dozen of eggs for 65 cents.
You got a dozen eggs for 65 cents.
Sure, that's all. For 27 cents more, I could have got the yolks, too.
The stores are so crowded with everybody shopping for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to buy a turkey, and I had to stand in line an awful long time.
Well, you weren't the only one who had to wait in line a long time, were you?
No, there was a pilgrim in front of me.
Oh, well, Thanksgiving only comes once a year, if you're stubborn about it.
Yeah. Say, but, you know, I can't get over how crowded those markets really are. You know, I don't think they have enough clerks.
They don't?
No, I had to stand at the cheese department 3 hours before anybody bought me. I mean, waited on me.
Hiya, Red.
Well,
Marion.
hello there, Ozzie. Say, did you go shopping at the supermarket?
No, I have jokes about the A&P.
Now, you were, too, in that supermarket because I saw you there. You were in the vegetable department. Hey, were you shopping?
No, just grazing. I was with my aunt. You know, she's one of those vegetable handlers.
Oh, you mean one of those women who go around handling all the vegetables, huh?
Yeah, she used to be content to handle just any old vegetable. But since she got into society, she won't feel anything but avocados.
Well, that was, you know, that's the kind of stuff that... Marvelous how you can clean up a joke. You know, that's the kind of stuff that got me into trouble once in one of those markets.
What do you mean?
Well, they had a sign that says, "Don't pinch the peaches." And a blonde came in, and that's all I remember.
Of course, you recognize, why don't we do this more often? And in the next chorus, Harriet portrays a very, very young lady who has just spent an unfortunate afternoon with her boyfriend. And here's Harriet.
Why don't we do this more often? Those were my first thoughts that day. You told me such pretty things again and again. You're not a child, you know, you're practically 10. You acted like such a big shot when you ordered ice cream cones for 2. You didn't have the dime, I had to pay the bill. I don't like you and I always will. And you say, why don't we do this more often? Well, why don't you act your age, Superman?
Well, I guess trouble knows no age limit. Harriet and I had a weird experience one evening. We were driving along in our car, and suddenly she turned to me and said,
Why don't we do this more often? Just what we're doing tonight. Gee, but it's great to get the fresh country air. Let's get off the beaten path and just drive anywhere. We'll ride right on till we're tired and stop at some quiet hotel, a cozy little inn, a spot nobody knows, the kind you only see in moving picture shows. Why we don't do this more often, Ozzy can tell you the rest.
Why don't we do this more often? The memory gives me a fright. Our hotel was the Biltmore, so I was told. It was built more like it was plenty old. And when I woke up the next morning, I phoned the clerk and I said, "Hey, how do you get hot water in this chicken coop?" And he said, "Go down to the dining room and order soup." That's why we don't do this more often. After what happened that night, can you blame us? After what happened that night.
That was Ozzie and Harriet singing their own special version of Why Don't We Do This More Often. By the way, don't forget, gang, you're all invited over to my house for a Thanksgiving dinner. Now, you can bring your wives, bring your friends, and if anyone knows a turkey, you can bring him, too. Oh, look, Ozzie, if the musicians are coming, let me know so we can evacuate the women and children.
What'll we do after dinner, Red?
Oh, we'll play games like we did last time.
Okay. But this time you wash and I'll dry.
Yeah. Well, there'll be a lot of dishwashing to do because I don't have enough plates to go around.
Oh, use paper plates.
Oh, no, that's what made Grandma sick.
How?
Well, the paper plates taste like the pie crust my mother used to make, and she ate 16 of them.
Well, it'll sure be fun going out for Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, I think Thanksgiving Day's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of people who think we should give it back to the Indians. And to prove what I mean, tonight I'm going to show the different way that people spend Thanksgiving. And to start off with, we have a football coach giving a pep talk to his family just before going out to dinner, and it'll probably sound something like this. Now listen, gang. I want to talk turkey. We're going to a kickoff at Aunt Lucy's. Last year they were over here on our home grounds, and what happened? They marched right down the menu to a touchdown in the first minute of play. Anyhow, on the deception play, they plugged right through a hole in our line while the referee was saying grace and we were disgraced. They got all the white meat, all the dark meat. We wound up behind it. Well, anyhow, we wound up behind it. Now, this year, I want you to go in there and block those potatoes. Because when dinner's over, all that counts is who's got the most bones. Now, we're going over there, and we're going to eat. We're going to eat hard. Now, there's one thing I want you to remember. As soon as you hear dinner's served, I want you to spill coffee all over the tablecloth.
What for?
I understand they're no good on a wet ground. All right, Tom, step up to the blackboard. Now, what do you do when Uncle Wilbur tries to carry the drumstick for a first helping?
I take out Uncle Wilbur.
That's right. Remember, I want you to fight clean. No gravy stains this year. When you come through the cranberry sauce, don't come out looking like Crimson Tide.
Hey, Pop, what about me? What do I do?
Well, Joe, you're the shortest, so you stand on the table and run interference.
What'll we do if Cousin Philip intercepts a pass and snags one of the wings?
We go into our wing-back formation. Okay, gang, let's get around the table now. We're going to try play 43 once more. Now, everybody around the table.
I've had this thunder and herd in strict training, Pa. They've been on a 9-day diet for 9 weeks.
Oh, one-man famine.
Tom's so thin he could slice down the turkey with his shoulder blades.
All right, now we're going to try play 43. You're offside there, son. Your fork went over the line of spinach. I think we're all set now, men. I want you to get in there and eat. I want you to cut, slice. Don't stop to chew, just swallow.
Okay, Pop. Okay, we'll be in there munching.
Now, fine. Now, off to the showers, men. Get into your eating jackets. And when that whistle blows, come out fighting. Children, I'm ashamed of you. Stampeding like that, it's a lucky thing I got out first. I'll pick up your mother.
I'm all right here. I can eat with one hand. Tell me, Pop, confidentially, do you think we'll have a chance to carve a name for ourselves this Thanksgiving?
With this squad, we're a cinch to wind up in the gravy bowl. Then we have the people who buy their turkey 3 weeks early so they can fatten them up. Then when it comes time to dress it, this is what usually happens.
Clem, where are you? Is the turkey ready?
Nope, we're talking things over. You know, we're practically in the same boat. I don't know when I'm getting the axe either.
Oh, Clem, you've got to do something about that Adam's apple. It's getting bigger every day.
You're looking at the turkey. This is me over here. You got to stop picking on my Adam's apple. It ain't that big. No, there went my collar again.
Well, hurry up and dress that turkey.
You know, I hate to kill him. We've had him so long, he seems like one of the family.
Well, maybe so, on your side of the family, not mine.
Look at him set up. Look at that. I tell you, he's almost human, I tell you. If you throw a stick, he fetches it back just like a dog. I'm telling you, he's almost human. Can't we eat something else? I never liked turkey much anyhow.
Well, last year you got the best part.
Oh, yeah. I still don't believe I got the nose. Look at him. Look. He just rolled over like a dog.
Oh, he's so fat he fell over. Now, are you going to kill that turkey?
No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm tired.
Oh, here, put your head on my shoulder.
I can't do it.
You're crying. You're crying.
It's nothing.
I know, but you're putting my cigarette out.
Look, I ain't going to kill him. Give me a gun. I'll do like the Pilgrims did. I'll go out and shoot our dinner. There's plenty of food over there in that woods.
Well, while you're at it, shoot me a cup of coffee.
Give me that gun. I see a wild turkey flying over now. I'm going to get him.
Say, is that a tom turkey or a hen turkey?
Wait, I'll ask the pilot. He's getting out now. Then we have the mean little kid who really has a time on Thanksgiving. This little brat keeps messing around the kitchen, you know, getting everybody's way. Harriet, you be my mother, and I'll be the little boy, huh? Mommy, we's gonna starve.
What are you talking about, Junior?
Well, you told Pop to dress the turkey, and after he scalded him and picked all the feathers off of him, he hopped out of the pen and went away.
Well, I hope he doesn't catch cold. Junior, why do you tell stories like that? The turkey's been in the oven for hours.
I knew I would find out where he was. Yeah, you know, Mom, I'm kind of sorry we killed that old turkey.
You are?
Yeah. He put up a great fight, though, didn't he, Mom? 3 times he took the axe away from Pop.
Yeah.
Mom.
Yes?
You think Pop will be out of the hospital by Christmas?
Yes, but we won't be able to shave his neck for a while. Now go away. Dinner will be ready in a few minutes.
Yeah, can I have it, Mom?
Put that celery down.
I like celery.
Company, halt.
Hey, I'm hungry. Could I have a piece of deli bread?
Sure, here's the bread. You'll have to spread the jelly on your face yourself. No, I've changed my mind. You can't have any bread and jelly.
Why not?
You'll spoil your dinner.
That's all I ever hear. Everybody worried about my tummy but me.
Stop eating that celery.
Oh, you broke my arm. You broke my arm. Oh, you hit me. You broke my arm.
I didn't even touch you. I hit my own arm.
You broke... Did you hurt yourself, Mom?
No. Now, you sit here on this stool. You're a bad boy.
I know it.
You're a very bad boy.
I'll say I am. Last night I set fire to Eddie Peabody. Mom!
What is it?
Can I have Veronica Lake for Christmas?
I thought you wanted electric trains.
What do you think I am, a dope?
Listen, just sit on your stool and be quiet.
All right. Mommy!
Yes?
Where'd I come from?
Be quiet.
Did Buck Rogers bring me?
No, you were left on the doorstep in a cage.
Yeah, here come the kitty. Oh, little kitty cat, look at him. Hey, I bet he's hungry, too. Here, kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty. We know what's coming, you know. Here, kitty.
Junior! Junior, stop pulling that cat's tail.
I ain't pulling it, Mom. I just holding on to it. He's doing the pulling. Hey, look. Hey, look, Mom. He tail here, but he ain't.
Junior! Oh, you're just kidding. Well, now, here, I want you to do me a favor.
Yes?
Take this pumpkin pie next door to Mrs. Denny, and be careful. It's got whipped cream on the top.
Oh, boy.
And hurry back, because dinner's ready.
Oh, boy, oh, boy. Don't that look good, huh? I'll carry it like a bowling ball.
Oh, that kid is driving me crazy. He's about as lovable as a Limburger sandwich.
Well, I ain't back. Can I go practice on the piano now? What am I saying?
No, your dinner's ready.
Oh, never mind dinner. I ain't very hungry somehow. In fact, that's between you and me and a Mickey Finn. I don't feel so good.
Uh-oh. Hello? Oh, hello, Mrs. Denny. What?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I just sent that pie over with Junior. Oh, I'm beginning to get it. I'll call you back, Mrs. Denny. Junior, come here.
Put that shillelagh down and I will.
Junior, come here.
You would never take me alive. Okay, here it comes. How am I going to get it, Mom? Standing up or over your knee?
Junior, what happened to that pie?
Now, wait a minute. Let's not get nosy, Mom.
Did you eat that whole pumpkin pie?
No, I only eat half of it. The punk part.
Oh. Well, why didn't you eat all of it?
Well, what do you think I am, a pig?
What did you do with the half that you didn't eat?
Well, I put some of it in this pot then. And I put a hunch of it in this pot then.
Why, you...
Now, what'd you do that for? I had a hunt in that pot, too. You know, Thanksgiving Day is really...
Howdy, Mr. Skelton.
Yeah, well, you want to go out and come in when the door opens? Thanksgiving is really...
Howdy, Mr. Skelton.
Well, I could have swore you were in here a while ago. How are you, Wonderful? Say, what's the matter with you today? Your shoes don't match.
Neither did the two guys I took them from.
Say, why don't you buy yourself better shoes, huh?
But, Mr. Skelton, these is very expensive.
Yeah?
They is genuine horsehide.
Oh, they are. What's the price of horsehide shoes?
$6.80 to win, $5.40 to place, and $3.30 to show.
Say, look, Wonderful, we've been on the air now for 7 weeks together, and, I can read you like a book. The only thing you're interested in is gambling and clothes.
You'll find women on page 3.
Oh, fine.
Oh, eyes are full of trouble today, Mr. Skelton.
No.
My gal hit me in the eye. Look how black it is.
Which one? Say, what did she hit you for?
Well, sir, this gal was wearing slacks, and I thought she was a boy.
Yeah?
And I said, got a match, bub?
Say, it sure is hard to tell a girl from a boy the way they dress out here in Hollywood. But, I have a system.
Yep.
Anytime I'm not sure whether it's a boy or a girl, I walk up and I tell them a story. And if they blush, it's a boy. Say, your girl must be plenty tough.
Yes, sir. You ought to see her muscle. She got them from going out with sailors.
Well, how did that give her muscle?
She rolls out to meet the battleships.
Say, where did you meet her, Wonderful?
Well, we was riding on the Sunset bus, and I was minding my own business when she dropped her Kleenex.
Say, Wonderful, what are you doing on Thanksgiving Day?
Well, I've been invited to dinner at her house.
Oh, have you brushed up on your etiquette?
Mr. Skelton, I sends those things to the laundry.
No, I mean etiquette, table manners. I was talking to Hattie McDaniels about you the other day.
Yeah?
Said you were over to her house, she ate all the corn off the cob, held the cob up in the air and says, "Hey, Hat, put some more beans on this stick."
And she did. I guess I'd better get some advice on manners.
Yes.
Because this gal of mine sure is highfalutin.
She is, really?
Yes, I met her playing post office, and she come airmail.
Say, have you known her long?
Well, I remember her old man when they call him Mickey the Rat.
Oh.
But since he's hit the numbers 3 days in a row, he's moved to a swanky apartment and changed his name to Michael the Rodent.
Really going to high class.
Maybe I ought to get some advice on etiquette, though. Give me the phone, please.
Okay, here.
Hello, operator? I'd like to speak to Miss Stump.
Stump?
Yes.
Say, for tips on etiquette, you should call Emily Pose.
I know, but on my salary, all I can afford is Stump. Hello, Miss Stump? This is Wonderful Smith. No, Wonderful.
Tell her you work with Red Skelton, the comedian. There.
I work for Red Skelton, the comedian. No, comedian. Like Fibber McGee, Fred Allen, Jack Benny. And I work for Red Skelton. What do you mean, don't change the subject? Well,
fine.
Miss Stump, I'm going over to my gal's house for Thanksgiving dinner. And I don't know what to do. Oh, yes, ma'am, I was dressing. It's the law,
No, she means is it formal?
Oh, well, this is my best suit. How do it look?
Well, isn't that jacket a little long?
That's the way I had it made. The pants ain't ready yet.
Say, tell her how the folks are going to dress, and she'll help you out.
Well, my gal is going to wear a long dress with gloves without fingers.
Yeah, what are you going to wear?
Socks the same way. What you say, Miss Stump? How's my table manners? Oh, I'm a gentleman. Every time I spear a piece of turkey, I yell, touche. Miss Stump? I wouldn't reach for anything. I've been to that house before. And getting anything off that table is like putting your hand in a meat grinder. Only difference, with a meat grinder, you get your arm back.
Say, ask her what to do after dinner.
Dinner is now over. What do I do? Take her to see a nice movie?
Hey, that's a good idea, and I'll tell you just the picture to take her to.
Oh, no, you won't. I've been to see Whistling in the Dark so many times the boys call me Whistler's brother.
We'll take her to see some Harlem stage show.
I don't think that's advisable.
Why not?
Every time she sees Rochester, it takes her 3 days to get used to me again. Well, thanks, Miss Stomp.
Yeah, where you going, Wonderful?
I'm going to find a little boy to knock on my gal's door.
Well, can't you knock on it?
I know, but, brother, I know better than to go there empty-handed.
Yeah.
Say, Red, I hope you won't be mad. I appreciate your invitation, but I just won't be able to come to your house for Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, fine. I mean, why not?
Well, some friends of mine invited me to that new restaurant.
Oh, that's good. Well, okay. Well, I hope you have better luck in a restaurant than I had last year. I took my girl to a Thanksgiving dinner, and I met her on the street corner. Gee, I thought she'd never show up.
Oh, there you are. You been waiting long?
No, I always look like George Arliss.
Well, I'm awfully sorry I'm late.
Yeah, what held you up?
3 sailors.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I stopped off to buy a new hat. How do you like it? I said, how do you like my new hat?
Played much baseball lately?
Glad you like it. Tell me, Richard, how does it feel to come to the big city?
Oh, wait a minute. How's it feel to come? I've been to the big city before.
Oh, yeah? Then why did you look up at the Empire State Building and yell, Timber!
Well, I had to. I chopped halfway through the first floor.
Anyway, you look awful cute tonight. Clean, too.
Yeah, well, I should be. Just before I left home, I put water in my pan.
I thought you said you had a cold or something. You're not sneezing.
I know. I got some of that new anti-sneeze, hay fever, you know.
So I'm getting hungry. How far is this restaurant you're taking me to?
It's just over on the other side of town. It'll only take a minute.
The other side of town? That's a long way. Oh, there's a taxi cab sitting over there, and the driver's sitting at the wheel.
I know, but you can't bother him. He's listening to John's other wife.
Oh, come on, then. Let's start walking.
Okay, let's cross Sunset Boulevard.
Okay.
Gee, we crossed Hollywood Boulevard, too. Well, this is that expensive restaurant I was telling you about.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's only a half a block from the place where we're going to eat.
Oh, come on. Let's go in there.
Well, I don't know if I can afford it or not.
Well, ask the doorman there if it's expensive.
Okay. Hey, doorman, is this an expensive restaurant?
Not at all. That'll be $7, please.
$7 for just asking you a question?
Yes. My mother was frightened by a quiz program.
Oh, come on, Richard. Let's go in the restaurant anyway. I'll pay for the dinner.
Oh, wait a minute. What kind of a man do you think I am? Give me the money. I'll pay it.
All right, let's go in.
Okay.
I am the head waiter. What can I do for you?
I would like to have a table for two.
Pardon me, sir, but do you have a reservation?
No, but I'm awful hungry.
Well, customers usually give me $5 or $10 to reserve a table.
Yeah, we still haven't got a reservation.
Dull, isn't he?
Come on, give us a table, bub.
Do you want a booth, or shall I put you where everybody can laugh?
All we want is a table.
See, somewhere near the washroom, I presume.
Yeah.
Let's sit over there.
I am sorry, but that is the main dining room. You cannot sit there. You are not dressed.
We're not?
No.
What cult do you belong to?
Please, I simply meant that you are not dressed properly. In here, you must wear tails.
Tails?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't notice those coconut trees. Hey, come on, let's sit down here.
All right. Richard, pull my chair out for me.
Okay. Sorry, dear, I didn't know you were wearing a bustle.
That's all right. I'll have the Pontiac people take care of it in the morning. Gee, isn't it swell eating in a restaurant?
Yeah. You know, I hate to eat home in the kitchen.
Me too. We got mice. Have you got mice?
No, we can't afford them.
This sure is a swell restaurant.
Yeah.
Everything's so clean and shiny.
Yeah, you remember that silverware I promised you when we got married?
Yeah?
Well, this is it.
This sure is a swanky place.
Yeah, but I don't think that we're wanted here.
Why not?
The celery's eating its heart out.
Gee, listen to that man at the next table eating soup.
Gee, if he's doing that for us, he'll get awful sore.
You'll get sore. Why?
If we don't get up and dance.
I don't feel like dancing. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry, too. Here comes a waiter.
I'd rather have a steak.
Yeah. Oh, here comes... Oh, waiter! Waiter! Must be last call for gravy, huh? Well, let's look over the menu, huh?
Let's see, I'm going to have turkey, cranberry sauce, dressing, mashed potatoes, string beans, squash, asparagus, and I'm going to top it all off with some good old pumpkin pie.
Yeah, well, I'm really hungry. Boy, I'm going to have a double order of the same thing and top mine off with a good old bicarbonate.
Let's see, shall we take the $5 dinner or the 50-cent blue plate?
Well, you look awful nice and blue.
Oh, look, here comes another waiter. See if you can catch his eye.
Okay. Too fast. Couldn't even grab his nose. Hey, what do we got to do to get waited on in here? Have money?
Gee, we've been here a whole hour and we still haven't been waited on. Let's go somewhere else.
No, let's wait. Oh, at last, here comes a waiter toward us. Look. Oop, he detoured. How do you feel by now?
Oh, I'm all right. But aren't you being a little stubborn? After all, 3 days and no waiter.
Darling,
Aren't you terribly hungry?
I'm so hungry that I wonder, could you... Well, would you... No, I don't guess you would.
Well, what is it, dear?
Do you need all 5 fingers?
Oh, I wish you'd let my mother fix Thanksgiving dinner for us at home.
I wouldn't let your mother fix anything for me.
Why not?
Look what she did to my wagon. Look, here comes the waiter. He's got to stop this time. He's got to stop. He's got to stop.
Why did you trip me?
My stomach put me up to it. Besides, we got to get waited on. We've been here an awful long time, Bub.
Well, all I can say is it's a fine way to start off Christmas morning.
Christmas? We came in here on Thanksgiving.
No.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. Hey, Joe, this guy's been sitting here for 5 weeks. What'll I do?
Better change the tablecloth.
Now, wait a minute. We've been pretty patient. But what we want right now is some turkey.
Oh, I'm sorry. We only have turkey on Thanksgiving.
No turkey?
Only the one you're with.
Yeah.
The rest is all gone.
Well, give us some chicken.
I'm sorry, it's all gone.
Come on, let's get out of here. Where's my hat and coat?
That's gone, too.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Richard, and believe me, we'll never set foot in this restaurant again.
You said it, dearie. Go on, you'll never see us again. Come on. Oh, we got to go back. I forgot something.
Why?
We forgot the ashtrays. Don't forget
forget, we'll all be back at the same time next week. Red Skelton, Harriet Hilliard, Ozzie Nelson and his music, Wonderful Smith, and your announcer, Truman Bradley. And now, here is Red with the final word.
Thank you, Bradley. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. And honestly, I believe that we can help make this coming Thursday a real day of Thanksgiving for liberty-loving people all over the world. If we make an extra effort in buying United States savings stamps and defense bonds. Thank you very much, and goodbye now.
Red Skelton is heard on this program through the courtesy of the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios. This is the Red Network of the National Broadcasting Company.
That's pretty cool the way they did that. My name is Henry Chop, your host, and that's the Red Skelton Show, a rehearsal broadcast that ran 39 minutes long from November 16th, 1941, for the broadcast date of November 18th, 1941. Before we get to Glenn Miller, let me tell you a little bit about our Patreon page. I know you're got to be getting sick of this by now, but I really suggest you checking it out. If you love programs like this, if you want to go live through the war years exactly as it happened, check out that page. It is called World War II on the Air and in Print, Old Time Radio, and News. And the link is in the comments section to this video. It should be the very first comment in there. You do have to either put the app in your device or go on your computer, look up the website, and create an account, and then subscribe to my channel the way you subscribe to a YouTube channel. And you will have access to all the old-time radio programs from the World War II years. And if you want to read a newspaper from nearly every date that we are covering, check out our premium tier where a newspaper is delivered to your electronic doorstep over on our Patreon page. And that is most interesting to see society change as it goes through World War II. A lot of changes. So you will see all of that stuff ever so slowly begin to take shape. So check out our page, World War II on the Air and in Print, Old Time Radio and News over on Patreon. I think you'll enjoy that channel quite a bit. Let me tell you what we're going to listen to on there now from Thursday through Saturday. Well, we don't have a heck of a lot for Thursday, November 27th. We have The Road of Life, a soap opera, The Goldbergs, another soap opera, and Terry and the Pirates, a serial, and Lum and Abner. Actually, all of these are serials, and Lum and Abner. And on Friday, November 28th, 1941, we will feature The Goldbergs, The Adventures of Superman, Terry and the Pirates, The Lone Ranger. This is Wichita. Information, please. Stars Over Paradise, Lum and Abner, and Dark Fantasy, a horror program. So Friday has a pretty good variety of stuff, surprisingly. A lot of times on Friday we are lacking for programs, but we have a lot of stuff that Friday. And then Saturday, we have Saturday, November 29th, 1941. We have Jungle Jim, I Want to Come Back, an audition program for that series. It had 3 audition programs. That is, I think, a 3rd audition for it, so you're going to get to hear that. And the Your Hit Parade Jukebox, and which is a countdown of the top 10 records of the week done by yours truly, and Glenn Miller's Sunset Serenade. So some great stuff as we count up to Pearl Harbor, count up to war. Speaking of Glenn Miller's Sunset Serenade, we have one of those programs for you right now. It runs about 50 minutes long, and this is really a great program. Glenn Miller is just coming off of his hit film Sun Valley Serenade, which featured the songs Chattanooga Choo Choo, Elmer's Tune, among others. A lot of great songs you're going to hear on this air check. It aired over NBC Blue. It's sustained. It aired in the early afternoon, 5 o'clock or so in the afternoon. I think they mentioned the time on the program itself, but it is a really, really swell program, as they used to say back then. You're going to love this. Here's Glenn Miller's Sunset Serenade from November 22nd, 1941.
Afternoon and greetings, everybody. The National Broadcasting Company invites you to listen to Glenn Miller's Sunset Serenade. And here he is, friends, that head man himself, Glenn Miller. Come on in, Glenn.
Thank you, Bill. Hello, everybody.
It's around 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon here in New York, and that means we're all ready to bring you our weekly Sunset Serenade from the Cafe Rouge in the Hotel, Pennsylvania. There's a big crowd of our friends gathered here today to take part in our USO matinee, and of course our Sunset Serenade designed for the pleasure of you folks at home with a special salute to the men in Uncle Sam's service everywhere. Now for your dancing or listening pleasure, here's your old friend, Tuxedo Junction. Next stop on our musical tour is Dreamsville, Ohio. Ray and the Mountaineers are all set with their maps and megaphones to point out the spots of special interest.
Won't you come with me to Dreamsville, Ohio? There's no better place to dream.
There's a winding lane that leads you
down to to a stream. When the moon comes up in Dreamsville, Ohio, and it lights the town below, then you'll know the sweetest moments you'll ever know. You'll find a kissing raft that stands beside a wishing well, but you must seal every wish with a kiss, or you'll break the spell. There's a happiness in Dreamsville, Ohio, even money couldn't buy. All that's missing down in Dreamsville is you and I. In Dreamsville, even money couldn't buy. All that's missing down in Dreamsville is you and I.
Now, a tune from a picture we made recently out in California. It's Marion, Tex, and the Modernaires and Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Step aside, partner, it's my day. Bend an ear and listen to my version of a really solid Tennessee excursion. Pardon me, boy, is that the Chattanooga Choo Choo? Yes, yes, track 29. Boy, you can give me a shine. Can you afford to board Chattanooga Choo Choo? I've got my fare, and just a trifle to spare. You leave the Pennsylvania station about 3:45. Read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore.
Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer
than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina. When you hear the whistle blowing 8 to the bar, then you'll know that Tennessee is not very far.
Gather all the coal in, gotta keep it rolling.
Ooh, Chattanooga, there you are. There's gonna be a certain party at the station.
Satin and lace.
I used to call Funny Face. She's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roam. Choo-choo. Won't you choo-choo me home?
Chattanooga, Chattanooga.
Get aboard.
Chattanooga.
All aboard.
Chattanooga, Chattanooga. Chattanooga, choo-choo.
choo-choo me home. Chattanooga choo-choo.
Again, it's the Sun Valley Serenade Department, and this time it's Marion and the Martineers singing I Know Why. Then the whole gang come in with It Happened in Sun Valley.
Let's go for a ride. Get your favorite one to sit by your side. Cuddle up in a sleigh.
Giddy up, now the gray, and away we go. While you listen to the sleigh bells ring, you're yodeling to your baby. You'll feel nice and warm, no matter how cold it may be. Take a look at little Jack and Jill. They ski down a hill, that's a snow cloud turn. And look, there's a spill on a hill. When you're down, it's a thrill to go up again. Everybody ought to learn to ski, for that is how we first met.
Jack and Jill that skied down a hill. When I looked at you, my heart took a thrill on a hill. It's a thrill I can't forget.
It happened in the valley, not so very long ago.
There were sunbeams in the snow,
cool snow,
and a twinkle in your eye.
I remember, oh so clearly,
then it happened in Sun Valley, when you slipped and fell, and so did I.
Sun Valley, not so very long ago. There were sunbeams in the snow,
and I fell in love when I saw that twinkle in your eye.
I remember, oh so clearly, that you nearly passed me by.
Then it happened in Sun Valley,
when you slipped and fell, and so did I. Now every year we go back and then we recall that fall and that moment when we were there on a hill. So we both take a spill and we're Jack and Jill again.
the box office of the Imperial Theater up in Times Square to get a look at the new Cole Porter musical comedy, Let's Face It. Here's Ray Everly now to sing the hit song of the show, Everything I Love.
You are to me everything, my life to be everything. When in my sleep you appear, fair sky our lips touch again. I yearn for you oh so much again. You are my favorite star, my haven in heaven above. You are everything I love. You are to me everything. You are everything I love.
You know, when all this talk started about the V for Victory campaign, we came out with the tune around that time, sort of dedicated to our share of spreading the good news out of the V for Victory campaign, and we called it V-Hop. We play it for you now. And there you have the first part of our Sunset Serenade. We'll be back shortly with more music for you folks back home and our special salute to the men in Uncle Sam's service everywhere. So keep listening and don't go away.
This is the Blue Network of the National Broadcasting Company. Glenn Miller's Sunset Serenade.
Miller speaking and inviting you to stick with us as we bring you part 2 of our Sunset Serenade. After our theme, we play a tune that's familiar to all you folks, and we think you're going to find it mighty easy to listen to. I'm doing all right today. So anyway, we're going to play Duke Ellington's I'm in a Sentimental Mood.
American. Live in the land of the free. Be proud that you're an American. You stand for life, you stand for love and liberty.
And now here's that part of our program specially designed for the pleasure and entertainment of our men in Uncle Sam's service everywhere. The Navy, the Army, and all you guys that keep 'em flying. Folks, this is Glenn Miller asking everybody listening today to do something we think is mighty important. We'd like you to invest just 1 penny during the next few days. 1 cent that will pay off in big dividends of pleasure and enjoyment to thousands of our boys in the service all over the United States who are doing their job that's keeping this country of ours the greatest place on earth. With that penny, buy a postcard. And in a few seconds, I'm going to tell you how to put it to a very good use. First, we're going to play some tunes for you, the favorites of 5 camps that we picked out to salute this week, and to each of which we've already sent a gift of 50 recordings of America's leading artists. After you've heard the tunes the boys have chosen, it's time for you to get busy with those postcards. Listen to the tunes, pick out the one you like best, write it on that postcard, and send it to me, Glenn Miller, NBC, New York City. That's all you do. Then we'll count the votes, and the camp whose favorite tune receives the greatest number of your cards will be awarded an additional gift, a beautiful radio phonograph combination. Now, you'll agree that's a lot of mileage to get out of 1 penny, because when you invest in the pleasure and entertainment of our men in the service, you're really doing something. We wish you could read the letters of thanks and appreciation from the boys away at camp and from the morale and commanding officers and the USO from coast to coast. And you'd know that the little effort we ask you to go to each week is well worth the short time it takes. Invest your penny today. It'll be one of the best investments you ever made. Well, today marks the first time since we began our Saturday salutes that all our 5 camps picked out a different tune as their favorite. And now we're ready with the songs they've selected. The men of Fort Eustis, the largest Coast Artillery Replacement Training Center in America, have tackled the problem of being away from home in a pretty practical way. I Guess I'll Have to Dream the Rest is the tune that they like best. And here's Ray and the Modernaires saluting all 14,000 of the Eustis men with their favorite.
I guess I'll have to dream the rest.
If you can't remember the things that you said, those nights that my shoulder held your sleepy head,
if you believe that parting's best,
I guess I'll have to
dream the rest. I guess I'll have to dream alone
of honeymoon cruises once dear to my heart, of one-room apartments where we said we'd start,
of foolish things we planned to own.
I guess I'll have to dream alone. I can see
that your heart has gone astray. As for me,
I'll love you the same old way.
I guess I'll have to dream the rest.
There'll be no friends waiting to throw shoes and rice. Those heavenly moments will never come twice.
I'm thankful for the hours you've blessed.
I guess I'll have to dream the rest.
Yes, I'll have to dream the
When the sailors at the United States Naval Base in Newport, Rhode Island picked their tune, they left a mighty big question mark hanging in the air. And many a guy'd like to have the right answer to this one. Do you care?
Is there a chance for me? Do you care? I wish I knew. Won't you try to confess that you find happiness in a tender caress the way I do? Do you care that I am so in love? Please be fair. You know it's true. And just supposing I should say that I've a heart to share, would it matter at all? Do you care? Would it matter at all? Do you care?
Camp Upton, Long Island is next on our list today, and I'd like to mention here that the basketball team of the camp is going to play Long Island University over at the Brooklyn Pharmacy tomorrow night. Good luck, soldiers, and now we hope you'll like our arrangement of the tune you selected, Piano Concerto. Now, here's that song again, the selection of the men at Fort Hays, Columbus, Ohio. Soldiers, Ray sings for you, Taft Still Reveille.
From Taft till Reveille, I dream the whole night through. Each night till I hear Reveille, I dream, my dear, of you. I have your face before me. The moments we're apart. From Taft till I hear Reveille, I dream of you,
Down at Camp Beauregard in Louisiana, there's 25,000 soldiers who do want to set the world on fire, but only in a musical way. Anyway, that's the tune they selected, and as long as they ask for it, we're mighty glad to play it for them.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe me, I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart.
Now, there they are, the tunes, and our camps for this week selected as their favorites. And now, if you're ready with those postcards, the rest is easy. Just pick out the tune you like best, write it on a postcard, and send it to me, Glenn Miller, NBC, New York City. And then to the camp whose tune receives the greatest number of your cards, we'll send as a special gift a beautiful radio-phonograph combination. All of us at one time or another invest in something. Sometimes those investments are good and sometimes not so good. But we'll guarantee that the penny you spend each week for that postcard will pay bigger dividends than any other penny you ever invested. It will help bring many hours of pleasure and entertainment for thousands of our men in the service. And we think you'll agree that a penny never did a more important job. So join in the parade and send in those postcards right away. Little guy guy that fixes the shoes is in again, and he's got plenty of customers. Standing in line is Ray, Marion, Tex, and the modern air.
He can mend any tattered shoe, Papa Nicolini. He's your friend anytime you're blue, Papa Nicolini. People send all their troubles to Papa Nicolini, 'cause he trades all their old dreams for new. Children stop at his little shop looking for a penny. Though he's poor, still you may be sure he has given many. And I'm told with his heart of gold, Papa Nicolini will make all of your daydreams come true. Sunday right up till Monday, he's patching and mending old shoes. From Monday right up till Sunday, he'll mend all your heartaches and blues.
Texas, Texas, why do you walk that way?
My shoes need fixing, ain't got the dough to pay.
You should see old Papa Nicolini if that's the way you feel. Papa Nicolini knows what to do with a heel.
Can he mend any tattered shoe, Papa Nicolini?
He's your friend anytime you're blue, Papa Nicolini.
Then I'll send all my troubles to Papa Nicolini,
'Cause he trades all your old dreams for new.
Children stop at his little shop looking for a penny.
Though he's poor, still you may be sure he has given many.
And I'm told with his heart of gold, Papa Nicolini
will make all of your daydreams come true. Patching and mending and patching. Works from Monday right through Sunday.
Who's that?
Papa Nicolini.
And now we pause for a moment to invite you folks at home to join us in congratulations to the men of the Marine Barracks on Paris Island down in South Carolina, because their favorite, You and I, pulled the greatest number of your cards and letters, and that special prize, a console radio phonograph combination, will soon be on its way to them. We all join in hoping it fills many a gap when the boys are looking for that little extra entertainment during their spare time. And now the tunes for you to vote on today: Fort Eustis, Virginia, I Guess I'll Have to Dream the Rest; Camp Upton, New York, Piano Concerto; Fort Hays, Ohio, Tap Still Reveille; Camp Beauregard, Louisiana, I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire; and the Naval Base at Newport, Rhode Island, Do You Care? There you have the favorites of our 5 camps for today, and I'd like to remind you once again about putting those pennies to work. Stop off at your post office and pick up a few postcards. We're sure that if you could know the great amount of pleasure your cards would help to add to the enjoyment of our boys in the service, you'd agree that a penny postcard is a mighty small investment to make. And while you're at the post office, inquire about defense bonds and stamps. They'll make swell Christmas gifts for anyone, gifts that increase in value the longer they're kept. And what's more, remember that every stamp and bond you buy is one more guarantee that our American way is here to stay. Now back to the music with one of your favorites, one of we like to play for you, In the Mood. certain time on today's Sunset Serenade. But remember to be on hand next Saturday, same time, for a new edition dedicated to our men in the service and you folks back home. Most important, though, is don't forget those postcards. Send them along. The boys will sure appreciate it. And till we're back with you again, we ask you to keep them flying. Bill?
Thank you very much, Glenn, for another very delightful Sunset Serenade. Be with us again next time, folks. In the meantime, this is the Blue Network of the National Broadcasting Company.
And that's the way it was the week ending November 22nd, 1941. My name is Henry Chop, your host, and in about a minute or so, I will tell you what we are going to listen to next week, the week ending November 29th, 1941. If you enjoyed these World War II era radio programs, you might enjoy our Patreon page titled World War II on the Air and in Print, Old Time Radio and News. The link is in the comments section to this video. On our Patreon page, you will get a daily dose of old-time radio as we travel through the war years chronologically. The cost for the OTR is free, but you do have to put the app on your device or find their website online and subscribe to our page. If you would really like to know what the war years were like on the home front, try our $5 a month premium tier. There you will get a morning newspaper from the corresponding date of the radio broadcast delivered to your electronic doorstep right next to the milk bottles nearly every single day. Check us out. World War II on the Air and in Print, Old Time Radio and News on Patreon, spelled Patreon. Patreon spelled backwards is Nortab. Definitely check out our Patreon page. I made the newspaper for today's date public, so you can check it out to see if it's something that you might like. And the newspapers are in the $5 tier. The old-time radio, the World War II old-time radio, is in the standard basic tier, which is free. All you have to do is put the app on your phone or device and like our channel or subscribe to our channel. It's just like subscribing to a YouTube channel, only it's on a different platform. I think you'll enjoy it. We are on there every single day. Okay, let me tell you what we're going to listen to next week. 2 hours of radio programs. We are going to start things off with the Jack Benny program, a Thanksgiving program. Well, it's a couple days late, but it is a Thanksgiving program. And then we are going to have the Lux Radio Theater production of Maisie Was a Lady from November 24th, 41. Jack Benny was from the 23rd of November. And then we have an interesting program called Stars Over Paradise. And I'm placing this show on there because, well, it's kind of fitting. It takes place in the Pacific, on a Pacific island, sort of like Hawaii, as we are getting closer to Pearl Harbor. By the way, speaking of Pearl Harbor, I am thinking of doubling the length of the program for that week, the week ending December 13th, 1941, to fit in some of the Pearl Harbor broadcasts. It won't be everything, of course. We just have much too much of it, but everything will be posted over on Patreon. But I'll post some of the more interesting stuff and the highlights and try to make a good variety of things over on this platform, so to give you an idea what to listen to. And I think you'll enjoy it as we go through the World War II years. So more details about that, of course, in the next couple weeks, including exactly what we plan on putting on that date. Until then, let's turn off this old tube radio. That's our time machine. Good night. God bless.
This changing world, this changing scene, where is it taking us? What does it mean? As long as we're certain of each other, we know we don't have to be afraid. These changing times we rise above. We have no time for them. We have our love. And love is the only thing that still remains the same through all this change.